The only way that I could magnify visibility was through social media. And for me, it was about this: create as much visibility as possible. If everyone in my market knows who I am, I'll have enough conversations, enough opportunities. That'll lead me to plenty of business. Investors see this, they sense consumer dissatisfaction, they say that's ripe for disruption, turn it on its head, upside down, it's leveled, never to come back, wiped out. Arrogance and audacity. Everybody hear me? Yes? Can you hear me okay? Nice to meet you guys. It's great to be with you. Can everyone over here see screens okay, or should we move this? Are you guys okay? All right. I just want to make sure that everybody has access to it, because there's a lot of stuff here that I want to point out visually. First off, it's great to be with you guys in Florida. Thank you for bringing me out. I want you to know, as Kasha said, and thank you for that kind introduction. I've known Kasha, as she said, for 4 years. She's one of the absolute very best at what she does. And that's why I choose to spend so much time around her, learn from her. So you guys are very, very lucky to have her. You're also part of a great company. I really enjoyed listening to Chris and what he was saying, a lot of the same values. There's tremendous alignment, and I enjoyed that dinner very much last night. So thanks, brother. Okay, guys, I am in the trenches just like you. Everything I'm going to talk to you about today is relatable because I'm one of you. I sing for my supper. I get my shins kicked in. I lose deals to big banks all the time. I felt commoditized at one point, and I had to do something to shift my career, save it basically. And all of that stuff, because I'm an open book, I'm going to share with you guys today. I want to help. I want to empower. I'm very passionate about our industry fighting back because I feel we don't get enough respect. I genuinely do. I feel like, am I okay to curse a little bit?
A little bit.
Okay, good. All right, hell yes, good. I just like keeping things real, and we were talking last night. I don't trust any man that doesn't curse or drink coffee. So I don't think you should either. I really don't think you should either. But by the way, that is the QR code to connect with me. If you scan that, if you're not following me or you're not connected to me, just scan that. Stay connected to me. I always want to help our industry. I'm very passionate that as either real estate professionals, lenders, advisors, the only way to really fight back is if we collaborate together and if we all become better marketers. That's how you'll beat the technology. That's how you'll beat the disruption. And that's what we're going to get into today. We're going to have a little bit of fun. I keep things very light and easy to understand because that's what works for me. I don't like talking over anyone's head or using too big of words. And I'm going to ask some challenging questions that I want you to make some note of. And I will prompt you when I say, hey, write this down or make a note of this, because I want you to answer these questions, maybe not right here, but when you leave here today, or when you go back to your office, or you do some reflection on the things that you're going to take away from today's fantastic session and this great event that your company's put on, so that you can look back. I'm very much a mindset guy. So I am fascinated through my time as coach for Team USA for 10 years and when I competed for the national team for 7, as to what makes somebody tick. What makes that guy do better than this guy? What is it that somebody has that somebody doesn't? And I think all of this is going to relate, because anyone in here love the analogies or synergies between business and sports? That's why we love watching those documentaries, right? So I'm going to tie a lot of that back for you guys here today. And, get back to my question or permission that I asked of you guys, that it's okay to curse. LFG stands for exactly what you guys think it stands for, okay? All right, good. At some point today, at some point over the course of my time here with you, and I don't have a timer, so Kasha or somebody else, you just cut me off, because I'm pretty chatty, and I'll go for 3 hours if you guys want me to. But if you guys get tired of me, you do this too. But at some point over the course of the next several minutes that I'm with you, I'm going to say something that is going to affect you on some level. You're going to either feel something, a light bulb's going to go off. I call it the aha moment, or what's referred to as a gestalt. Something will happen, and you'll be like, that's something I need to do. Or you'll feel it. When you feel it, I need you to promise, write that thing down or circle it, because that's the one thing I just want you to act on. You don't need to come away from something and write down 10 things and say, I got to go home and implement 10 different things, or I got to try 10 different things, or sign up for 10 different things. The way to maximize success from a conference, from a sales rally, from an event, from a webinar, is just do one thing. If you implement one thing, then today's time was valuable. Today's time was well spent. Fair enough? I'm big into FESs and thumbs up, so I'll get thumbs up. There you go, good. We'll get to the FESs a little later. Here's one quote I want you guys to write down, because I feel that this is something that we all need to tap back into from time to time, and it's a little bit of a rally cry. I'm going to raise the alarm bell on a lot of topics today, guys, because there are some serious things There's serious shit out there that's affecting our industry, and if we aren't awake and if we aren't acting proactively to battle back against it, next year is going to look very different. And I want to know if I either come back to this event, if I'm fortunate enough, or I check in with Kasha at next year's sales rally, that the same number of people, if not more, are still involved in this industry because they made some of those adaptations. I'm big on post-it notes. So I have a lot of quotes that I keep up on my desk because from time to time when I need to be reminded of why I do something or why something's important or when I feel the fatigue. Again, I'm one of you guys. I get tired, I get sick of talking to people time to time. I hate real estate agents on some days. I don't want to deal with them at all. But I have to remind myself this when it comes to doing the hard thing. John talked about it, right? Like, they're making the phone calls, doing the extra thing, going the extra miles. If I don't do it, somebody else will. You need to remind yourself of that. If you don't do it, somebody else will. If you don't ask that person to marry you that you've been dating for 8 years and string them along, somebody else will. I saw a few dudes' faces tighten up there because you know who you are, right? If you don't make that call to that person, if you don't reach out for that account, if you don't try and extend yourself to maybe find a way to become a preferred lender or a backup lender for that builder, somebody else will. Anybody here feel like they've squandered opportunities, like I should have done it and then somebody else did it, right? If you don't do it, somebody else will. The market's moving too fast, there's way too much disruption. Now let's talk about something that could get a little uncomfortable, and that's politics. Yeah, that's right. We're going to get into it now. By a show of hands, I'm kidding. No, I don't care who anybody voted. Everybody's face got real. Where is this guy going with this? He's in Florida. We're at the Trump golf course. I don't know where this is going to go. Okay, the reason I bring up politics, last presidential cycle, the 2024 cycle, was an absolute masterclass in marketing if you paid attention. Masterclass. It also was the election that has changed everything forever. This election, 2024, okay, doesn't matter whether you liked it, hated it, voted for him, voted for her, doesn't matter, or chose to not vote at all, or couldn't vote, I don't care. If you were paying attention, you have to understand that this election changed everything. This was the election of podcasting. This was the election of social media. This was the election of going into enemy territory, talking to an audience that didn't like you, and then getting spread to that entire audience because you said something that might have rubbed somebody the wrong way, creating viral moments. Everything has changed. No longer will any candidate, whether it's at a local municipal level, statewide, congressional, or even federal level, have to compete for dollars and attention the same way that they had to before. Before, you had to be anointed by the legacy media. You had to kiss the rings, know all the right people. If you were someone with a dream, like I want to affect change in my community, I want to do something, people are like, good luck, you know. So-and-so has way more money, they're way known, their last name is Smith or Kennedy or they're royalty, you know, and my last name's Dhingra. What chance do I have? That changes now because you can do everything. And that should be the wake-up call for anyone in here that wants to become more relevant, become more powerful in their marketplace. You're going to follow the same playbook of what actually happened in politics. Does this make sense, guys? Would everyone agree that it's all changed? So yes, now let's acknowledge that we're not going back. I want to talk about something that has killed more jobs, more industry, has wiped out more people in our profession, right? That is an accurate stat. We are 2/3 down from where we were in terms of MLOs. Some people might say that's sad. Trust me, I'm sure all those people are fine. They got other jobs, they're doing other things. It's not like they're on the streets. For the rest of us that are here, still, huge opportunity. First of all, it's great that we've like kind of treaded water and survived. Some have thrived. But now let's like kick some ass and move forward, right? Now that there's only 1/3 of us left. But this acronym here has killed and taken away more jobs. And it doesn't stand for what you think it stands for. It stands for arrogance and audacity. The arrogance to think that you know everything and the audacity to think that you don't need to evolve or get a little bit better or learn a new skill or sharpen the blade so that you actually bring something different to the marketplace. Now some of you might think, that's kind of cheesy. I'm going to prove it to you right now with the greatest example I know that everybody in here knows, and that is the story of this. Can you guys all see that? What's being stomped out? The taxi. Everyone remember taxis? You remember taxi cabs? It was cool, right? Yeah, yellow cab. I'm going to ask you guys something. I'm going to drop an F-bomb here. First F-bomb of the day. How the fuck do you mess up a monopoly? How do you screw up a monopoly? How do you screw up you're the only game in town for rideshare and transportation. Aside from different color medallions in markets, like you had yellow cab, green cab, blue cab, which is always kind of crazy to see different color cabs in various cities. How do you screw up being the only game in town? The consumer experience turned to shit. You guys remember getting in like towards the end, like the drivers' attitudes were terrible. Sometimes the car smelled really bad. The driver hadn't bathed in days, right? If you were wearing a suit or white shoes, good luck getting out of the car in the same condition. Okay? Something would be stuck to it and you hated it. Investors see this, they sense consumer dissatisfaction, they say that's ripe for disruption, turn it on its head, upside down, it's leveled, never to come back, wiped out. Arrogance and audacity. Only game in town, we don't need to improve the game, whatever. I always like to play the what if game and look backwards and say, what could they have done, right? So sometimes I'll ask this, and even Hashim, who's my main media lead, when we travel together, he's around here, there he is back there. When we travel to other markets, sometimes I'll say, let's just get in a cab, because I feel bad for them when they're lined up in front of the airport. Everyone's taking Uber, and they're just saying, like, it's a pathetic stage. Like, I don't know why they just don't leave and go join the other side, right? Why are they doing it? So we get in. Every time, it's still the same shit experience. I'm wondering, have they learned their lesson? No. I don't know, the last city we were in was just a couple weeks ago. Still haven't learned the lesson. But what is it, or what was the redeeming quality about cabs? Does anyone know? Or what did you think it was? Just speak up. Yell it out. What was the one redeeming quality that they could do that they just had over, and they should have played this up as a strength, maybe if they could have survived? Availability was definitely it, right? You could stick your hand out and scream like you were in a scene from a movie, and then the car would come, use the taxi, and the car would just come screech it up. Yes, availability, for sure. Sometimes I'd say even more so than Ubers, because Ubers get backed up now, right? It's hard to find them. What was one other thing? I'm looking for an answer. Safety. Yeah, maybe a little bit more on safety. Somebody said it, directions. They knew their markets like the back of their hands. If you gave them cross streets, they were gone. They didn't even have to look up. You didn't have to guide them. How many times have you been in an Uber and you've been down on your phone, you look up and like, why are we going this way? I joined you guys for dinner, which I was really fortunate and I enjoyed it very much. I was late for dinner, very late for dinner. It's not because I'm Indian and Indians are late for everything. I was really late for dinner. The reason that happened was because my Uber driver was on the front end of this building and he was just driving around and he didn't know where the entrance was. And I looked up off my phone because I was texting Kasha, I'm like, where are you guys? I'm sorry, I'm behind, please, I hope you're not waiting for me, which they weren't, so I'm grateful. And he just points at the GPS and he shrugs his shoulders. So is it really that much better? Right? So I always feel like the taxi cab industry could have played their strengths. We're going to talk about our strengths today and what everybody needs to play up in the wake of all the disruption that's going on out there. Here's another example. Google, which was the undisputed king of search. It's affected social culture and how we talk. We say, let's Google that. Google this, Google me, whatever it is. The only game in town is now facing existential threats from OpenAI. And let's be honest, it's a little cooler. There's not 50 blue links. You just get the answer. It's straight. It may not be the most accurate all the time, but I feel like that's going to just start to get sharper and sharper. So everybody, even Google engineers would be interviewed years and years ago and say, we're not going anywhere. No one's going to eat our lunch. We're here to stay, like we're impenetrable, they'd say. Well, spoke too soon, right? Arrogance and audacity. If you're not evolving, you're not staying sharp, and that counts for us in our business, guys. Anytime we're losing something, it's because it comes down to this, disruption. Disruption is not a matter of if it's going to happen, but when. Ask agents, the NAR lawsuit. They were riding high. They're thought to be untouchable, never question my commission, this, that. No, I'm not arguing against it. I think there are very good real estate advisors out there. They deserve more than what they get paid when it actually breaks down. I know we all definitely deserve to get paid more than what we get, right? As the unsung hero of every transaction when it comes to mortgages, right? But disruption's not a matter of if, it's simply a matter of when. And you have to be absolutely ready for it. Here's the first tough question I want to ask everybody. You don't have to answer it now. Maybe the answer comes to you. But I want you to reflect on this at some point. Everybody in here is at the same company, right? This is rare that sometimes, most of the time it's a collaborative collection of various companies and people might be sitting at round tables, but everyone in here is at the same company. So I want to ask, why did somebody given access to the same rates, the same technology, the same marketplace, the same platforms, the same digital devices, why did somebody at your company do better than somebody else? Some people had a great year. I'm not going to discount it. Some people had career years in this industry and in real estate. Then there's others that say it was the worst year of their career, the worst year of their lives, right? And I don't want you to feel bad about that. We're going to learn today and move on past it. But why is it that somebody did better than somebody else? This fascinates me all the time. Again, access to the same things. It's not that somebody had an unfair advantage or you say, oh, well, their life was easier. No. Most of the time, people that are performing really well are doing so in spite of what's going on in their life. They're able to put it in the categories or compartmentalize things better. I think it comes down to two things. And the answer lies in this class of people. Now, we love to demonize these guys because class warfare is a reflex for the media. Anytime the world is going to hell in a basket, we need someone to blame. It's Elon's fault. It's the billionaires' fault. It's those that have versus the have-nots. Most of the time, the argument is actually laughable. It doesn't make any sense. But we get whipped up into it because it's easy, because they have everything and we don't, so it's these a-holes' fault, right? If you study billionaires, rather than actually envying them in a negative way, I think, well, let's emulate them, because the last I checked, they're human beings with 2 hands, 2 feet, same as us, right? They have a brain. Now, I was at a panel discussion in San Francisco, which is where I live. It's a crazy place, don't get me wrong, and I don't stand for a lot of the craziness, but I was there. I'm there. I was listening to this billionaire talk. He was in the biotech space. And San Francisco now just passed New York for the number of billionaires. It has the most billionaires of anywhere in the United States, right? Because of all the innovation and everything that's going on there. A lot of it's paper, but people are becoming wealthy at insane clips overnight. Somebody in the audience, it was about this size, somebody in the audience raised their hand and said, what is the difference between you and the rest of us? Fascinating question, because all of us were thinking, I want to hear the answer to this. And this guy was very humble. He said, listen, I am no different than anyone here in this audience. In fact, if we passed around an IQ test, I guarantee you 90% of this audience would be smarter than me. The only difference between you and me and why I'm here and why you're not here yet, and I appreciated that he said that because he made it sound like it's open. Like you can do this too. It's not just me and you're in a state of permanence in that spot. He said, you can come up here. The only difference between me and you is my speed of execution. I operate with 70% certainty. If I feel 70% sure about what it is I need to do, I go. By the time you have thought about it, written it out, Googled the shit out of it, ChatGPT'd it, talked to your spouse about it, and then put it back on the shelf and say, we'll get to that next month, I'm already done. Because the other 30% I figure out along the way. And if I need to pivot, I'll pivot. That to me was like, that punched me in the chest. How many of us have had these great ideas that we wanted to execute on and we're waiting until we have 100% certainty? Even 90. You'll never get paid for the idea that's written down. You'll never get paid for the video that's sitting in your camera roll that you don't hit publish. You just won't know. You'll never know about it. So that's one thing. And I want to talk about just a quote with execution, because I have a podcast which Kasha had mentioned, and it's all focused on mindset. It's for people in our industry, any industry actually. And my very first guest that I had, because I've done a lot of solo episodes, the very first guest I have, he's an entrepreneur in San Francisco and a very good friend. He's doing a big project with Snoop Dogg, with jewelry. Now that's something nobody had on the bingo card. Snoop Dogg and jewelry in the same sentence. But he had this great quote, there's no such thing as $1 million ideas, there's only $1 million execution. Remember that. You'll never be paid for the idea. You'll never be paid for what's written down or sitting in your camera. You have to put it out there. And I hope, if anything, everybody takes that to heart. 70% certainty. The other thing that they had, let me actually back up 1 second here. Does anyone know who this guy is? Recognize that face? Any guesses? One of them's me, obviously. Yeah. The short guy's me. Who's seen The Pursuit of Happiness? The movie with Will Smith. That's the real Chris Gardner that Chris Smith played. Okay? So I met Chris at a dinner a few years ago at an event. It was for a TV show, and then we went to dinner afterwards, and I got to sit with him. It was probably one of the most fascinating conversations I've ever had with any human being. Right? Anyone here a crier? You weep over movies? Like anytime I need a good cry, I watch that movie. I love it. And every time I'll tear up. I'll admit that any day of the week. So I talked to him about a lot of stuff. I'll tell you one thing that was shocking. In the movie, if you remember, how many people have seen the movie? There's that many people who haven't seen the movie? All right, watch it. It's worth it. In the movie, his son, who was actually his real son, Will Smith's real son, was running around with him, and he was like 6 years old, maybe 5 or 6. In real life, at that time when he was on the streets, his son was like 15 or 16 months old. He was literally carrying around a newborn, basically, and dropping it off at daycare centers or doing whatever. Now, this man, who had his back against the wall and was not going to accept any sort of failure, even when it was getting so bad. And I asked him too, in the movie, things get bad. You know, when the IRS garnished your wages, they took the money out of your account, you were living in the hotel. He said it was even way worse than what we showed in the movie. He said it was so bad and so dark, it was just bad. But I mean, just literally, defeat after defeat, getting kicked in the shin repeatedly, and then he moves on. But he had this great line that he told me. Everybody's got a dream, but what's the plan, right? And don't have a plan B, because plan B sucks. If you have plan A, then you'll burn the boats and you're going to take the island, as Tony Robbins says. There's only one plan, right? There's only one way out, and that's it. And this guy didn't have a plan B. If you remember the movie, it was survive and take care of his son while sleeping in public restrooms overnight in train stations, and then get up and go to a job that everybody thought, he was coming from his house, but he was coming either from a homeless shelter or off the streets. Okay, plan B sucks, guys. When you only have plan A, that's it. You're just going to make it happen. The second thing I told you about billionaires, first was execute. The second thing was a high level of this. AQ is the sister or the cousin to IQ and EQ. It's called adaptability quotient. Billionaires have this. They're tested for it. They have a very, very high level of it. Most multimillionaires do. It means that when shit's going off the rails, rather than go down with the ship because you're too stubborn or you want to see it through, you're not going to quit, they're smart and they just pivot. They adjust. They make the tweaks. That's the 30% that we talked about. 70% execute, 30% you figure out. If it's not working, we adapt. All right? How many people have stuck with something way too long? Maybe even a relationship, and you're like, I should have gotten out of that a year or two earlier. That marriage, like, God, what was I doing? Adaptability quotient would have helped you, probably saved you some money, okay, in the settlement. So those two things I want everyone to remember. Here's my story, guys. I told you I'm one of you. I have to sing for my supper. This is what I did. I share this with you because I want you to know from a place of vulnerability where I come from. But also, I hope this can relate to some people, because I think from time to time, I forget sometimes that this story is what other people are going through right now. So this was my life, okay, as an originator. Now, mind you, at this stage in my career, I was 16 years in. So you would think I'd have some respect in my market. You would think people would look at me a little differently. Not the case. I would have to beg for business from these real estate agents. I would take them to what I call overpriced coffee, because everything in San Francisco is too damn expensive, right? The coffee's like $8. So if you're like a big coffee meeting person, you better have a big budget, because it adds up fast. So I'd take them out for coffee. They'd give me a lead just to get me to shut up, because I'd beg and tell them about how great my products were. I'm service, I'm 24/7, you can call me. I'm basically advertising myself as a doormat. You can treat me like shit, and I just want your business. I didn't realize what I was doing. I thought that's what you're supposed to say. Then I would have to fight to secure this deal. It was like a terrible deal. I'd have to do the impossible, of what we all have to do. Make 1 + 1 = 3. Right? That's what we do in mortgage. We have to do the impossible. And they don't appreciate it. They just call you and say, where are my docs? On day 2. We haven't even ordered the freaking appraisal yet, and they're asking for docs. Then I'd close it, and then I would get off this treadmill exhausted and say, I have to do this again. I was going 1-to-1, chasing one business lead at a time, doing everything I could to secure it, because I needed to eat, I needed to pay bills. I'd be off it, I'd feel exhausted. Does anyone relate to this? Or at some point in their career, the 1-to-1 concept? Something had to shift. So there was this day, which I remember like yesterday, where I was ready to quit the industry. I got stood up for an agent coffee meeting, all right? I lost some clients to a big bank, which happens a lot in San Francisco because it's a very big bank-dominated market. The independent mortgage banker or advisor is kind of thought of as like, I don't know if we want to go to them. So I've been really fighting to change that perception over the last several years. But it was like a perfect storm of negativity, right? Yelled at, lost clients, got stood up for this meeting. The guy who stood me up was an ex-title rep turned agent. He'd been in the business a year, which in San Francisco means he thinks he belongs on a reality TV show. So I walk outside and I call my performance coach that I've worked with since 2009. Some of you may know him, he's well known nationally. Kai McBride, I think he's one of the best performance coaches in the country, and I've been with him since the market crash. And I said, Kai, I'm pretty sure the universe is telling me to quit. I'm pretty sure it's saying I'm done. I'm tired of getting my shins kicked. I hate feeling like this. It's rejection upon rejection. Like, I'm way more valuable than this. I should just take my talents and do something else. You know, I'm in San Francisco. There's all kinds of interesting things going on. Like, I think I'm done. We'll always be friends, you know. I appreciate everything you've done for me. He says, listen, man, I know you're good at what you do, and you know you're good at what you do, but does anybody else? And I ask you guys this question. Does everyone in here believe they're good at what they do? Of course. The last 5 people you've worked with probably think you're pretty goddamn good at what you do. Does anybody else outside of that? He says, if I Google you, what am I going to find? These days, if we go on chat, or I use any other AI language model, what am I going to find? If the answer is, I don't know, or nothing, then we have to shift it. And that's what he told me 7 or 8 years ago when I had this conversation with him. He says, I don't know what the answer is. He didn't even have the answer for me. He was just pointing it out. He says, but you have to do something to shift that. At that moment, I did some deep soul searching. I kind of looked around at things that I was doing. And the only way that I could magnify visibility was through social media. And for me, it was about this: create as much visibility as possible. If everyone in my market knows who I am, I'll have enough conversations, enough opportunities, enough at-bats. That'll lead me to plenty of business. Will they all work with me? No. Will they all work with you? No. But if enough people know, will you have enough chances? Absolutely. But if not enough people know, your days are numbered. Relying on just the referral source or just the past clients. Because you know who's going after those past clients? Someone else is in that phone. Someone else is popping up, and they're only as loyal as their options, guys. We like to think our clients should be loyal to us because we fixed their credit, we helped them get into that house, and they'd be homeless if it wasn't for us. 3 months later, they don't give a shit. I hate to say it. It doesn't mean they don't like us. They just move on, right? So someone else is going to take it if you don't. But if there's visibility, you'll always have a shot. So one question again to ask yourself, and we're going to do a little bit of a social audit here and a little bit on everybody that I'll have you guys do as an exercise. How visible are you? I don't care what you use for visibility. You might be into billboards because they're at a premium on freeways. Do it. Bus stop signs, grocery cart ads, the stuff from like 10, 15 years ago. Social media is the only way I know to get a message out to tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of people with very little effort. Okay, and until somebody can show me how to scale attention that way, that's the horse that I ride. But if you're an email guy, if you're a door knocker, whatever it is, you just create enough visibility. You create enough visibility, you'll be fine. Because, like I said, if you're best known, you'll always beat out the best person. And I'm going to give you an example of this, okay? You don't have to be the best at what you do, but if you're best known, you will win every single time. This is why some people in here that are maybe in the business 10, 15, 20 years, you'll lose out on a piece of business to some hotshot, new kid who's been in the business 8 months. And you're like, how did that happen? I have all this expertise. I've done all this work. I'm so good at what I do. This person even doesn't know how to lock a loan, and they just beat me out for the deal, and it wasn't even about rate. Best known beats best. Here's your proof. How many people in here drink vodka? A couple of hands went up a little too quick there. It's not being served. It's not being served. Last I checked, there's only water and coffee, so sorry to get your hopes up. I didn't even finish vodka. The hand went up straight. Okay. Of the people that drink vodka, let me ask you this. If I did a secret survey with everybody right now, just off your phone, silent survey, what is the best vodka in the world? 90% of this room would answer Grey Goose. 90% of this answer would answer Grey Goose. Grey Goose is not the best vodka in the world. Grey Goose is actually shit vodka. Somebody said yes. Somebody knows their vodka. Yes, sir. The best vodka in the world is Belvedere. The second best is Kettle One. Third in most markets is like Tito's competes for it now. Fourth, somewhere fourth in most surveys is Grey Goose. Why, though, is Grey Goose going to land on 90% of the surveys in this room? They're best known. The marketing, the packaging is beautiful. The bottles are like extraordinary. Grey Goose as a concept and even just as an expression was a huge part of hip-hop and pop culture. It would be featured in music videos, in rap songs. Half-naked people would bring it out to you at nightclubs. What's not to love about Grey Goose? Everyone's a fan, right? It's the coolest thing. Best known beats best. The other vodka companies, maybe they don't have to compete in that space, but the reason why Grey Goose carries the perception, the optics of being the best is because they're everywhere. And everybody else here can do the exact same thing. Let's talk about the state of the market. Just whether it's through a sentence, a word, positive, negative, indifferent, what's going on in this market? Do we refer to this as the greater Miami market? What do we call it? Sorry? South Fork? South Florida, sorry, South Florida market. Okay, so the South Florida market, what's the state of the market? Positive, negative, just spit it out. What is it? It could be a line, it could be a word. Sorry? Don't be shy, guys. Chaos. That's great. I would be in full agreement. That's everywhere. Chaos. What else? Slow. Good. Adjusting. Fun. Yep. Not so bad. Getting better. So there's a lot of mixed answers here. Maybe give me some more data points, like what's happening. Tight inventory. Too many buyers. Prices increasing. Does any of that apply? Not enough buyers? Really? For the way the market is, not enough buyers. Okay, that's fascinating. What else? Affordability. It's getting gapper. Not enough qualified buyers. Uncertainty, somebody said. Okay, these are great points that everybody brought up, even the simplest ones. My question for you is, are you talking about this? I didn't see a lot of heads nod. We're not talking about it enough, okay? You have to talk about this because if you don't talk about it, somebody else will. But let me tell you what's even worse. a new narrative will be formed. There are two narratives right now going on in this country. Two very clear narratives. And I'm going to fast forward to the answer here. Both of them are correct. It's just whatever you choose to believe, whatever you choose to subscribe to. There's one narrative that we are headed off a cliff of some kind, a cataclysmic ending. Economically, socially, everything's going to go to hell in a basket and the market is going to crash. Prices will invert. It's all going to fall apart. There's another narrative that this economy is about to take off. It's about to just have a meteoric rise that is unprecedented, has never been experienced in history. It maybe needs one more domino to fall. Maybe it's another trade deal. Maybe it's another rate cut. I don't know what that is, but it's one domino away. Both narratives are right. I'm going to talk to you about why we have to speak up about this. Okay? I'm in the camp, obviously, of the latter. I genuinely feel the economy is poised for something spectacular. In spite of all the struggles and everything that it's going through, I think there's a lot of fundamentals there that show it. I'm optimistic, but not blindly. I like to see positivity. I like to see opportunity. I think for buyers, it's the best opportunity that there's been. In the 25 years I've been in this business, the best deals coming across my desk I'm seeing now. The best concessions, the best sales price cuts, adjustments, things that could be just held back, whatever it might be. They're just being able to negotiate so much better. But here's the headlines, guys. Right here, this one. Housing to remain the weakest part of the economy, falling 8% in the second half, Goldman says. This is a CNBC article. CNBC is pretty credible financially, would you say? Right? It's not like it's the Onion, the San Francisco Onion, which is like the most discredited media outlet. I don't even call it a media outlet. It's terrible. It's a joke. CNBC, and it's saying Goldman Sachs, the most powerful investment bank in the world. Goldman says this is going to be the weakest part of the economy. If you're a consumer and you read this and nobody else is speaking up, do you think they're going to be excited to go out and tour homes next weekend or get that mortgage application and turn over all their paperwork to you? Does anyone think so? So you wonder why you have to do all this deconstructive therapy with clients to talk them into telling them it's okay. No, the market's not going to crash. No, this is not 2008. Because nobody's speaking up. I saw this article and I said, this is categorical bullshit. Okay? If you follow me, then you know, because I did an article, or I did a piece of video content with my daughter, my 6-year-old. She'll be in some of the videos because she's much smarter than me. Okay? So we basically just talked about it. I said, Isla, did you read this article? She said, yeah. I said, I'm going to prove to you why this is BS. Yes, we have transaction gridlock in this country. Yes, head counts are down a little bit. But does that mean it's stopping? No. $1 that goes through a real estate transaction has far more economic impact than in any other asset class, and I'm going to prove it to you. A home gets listed. You have a buyer's agent and a seller's agent. Agents make their money. We all know agents love to spend their money. That money goes right back into the economy. There was a mortgage person, probably somebody in here was involved in the deal. We spend our money. We have bills to pay. The money goes right back into the economy. During the time of that transaction, a title insurance company was paid some pretty handsome fees. We all know insurance costs are absolutely obscene, so the insurance company made out. Inspectors were hired, appraisers were hired, and then movers were hired. And then subcontractors were probably brought in to do some work on that house. And then don't forget that there were services signed up for. Utilities, can't forget about Netflix. $1 of a real estate transaction has far more of a ripple effect than in any other asset class. So I said this article is bullshit. It's to say that it's going to be the weakest sector of the economy, they're only citing that because of transaction count. But when we think about the effect of what a real estate transaction does, I put up that's not spin. That's not always just, glass half full. It's always sunny out. No, that's reality. You just have to go a little deeper. That's sophistication. The amount of feedback I got from posting something, thank you for clarifying that. Thank you for thank you for dispelling that the market's not going to crash, because when I read the article, I thought it was going to crash. The other one, contentious jobs report confirms the U.S. is slowing. That was in August of this last summer. Okay? So you see this and people think the economy is about to crash. Maybe I shouldn't buy. I should have listened to my father-in-law. He said, don't buy a house, whatever it might be. All I explained in this is, this article basically confirms what everyone's been waiting for out there, is that there's going to be a rate cut. Because when the jobs market slows down, the Fed has to come in and stimulate the economy, stimulate hiring by one measure of cutting rates. So everyone's been wanting a rate cut. That's what this article means. Okay? Perspective shift. We don't have, guys, a market problem. We have a perspective problem. Everyone needs to remember that. When you're having conversations with clients, there is no market problem. Does anyone in this room genuinely believe that the market's going to crash? If you do not talk to another client. Even if there's 1% of you, barring, I get it. There's an asterisk attached to that every time. Barring a black swan event, okay? Nobody saw COVID coming. Like, we have to put that disclaimer out there. But barring a black swan event, Does anyone think the market could crash? Because if there's 1 ounce of you that even does, don't talk to another client until you've reconciled that. Talk to the people on your team, talk to your CEO, talk to your sales manager, talk to other people, look in the mirror, answer the questions. And if you still think it's going to crash, if that's your belief, which I respect, I don't agree with it, but I respect, don't talk to any more clients because you're hurting the rest of us. Everybody in here needs to understand there's no market problem, there's only a perspective problem. If we don't speak up, then we have ourselves to blame because the media is going to sell bad news like what I just showed you. They don't sell good news doesn't sell. And that's not manipulation, that's the way it's always been. Okay, it's more apparent now because a lot of us are drawing a line in the sand or contrasting between good news and bad news and seeing that there is an agenda. And again, I don't mean that in a manipulative way, that's just the way it is. So, they're over here, consumers over here, they're dropping these bombs of negativity on them. We are in the middle. You have to intercept that news and translate it for clients. Here's what this means. Here's why you should care. Here's the truth. You guys with me on this? We're good? Okay. Find a way to exert your relevance, guys. Otherwise, you will be pushed to a place of irrelevance. This is another quote that I have on my desk. You find a way to be relevant in this market, elbow your way in and say, I'm important. I've got something to say. I'm valuable. I belong here. Otherwise, you'll get pushed to a place of irrelevance. Business gets complicated way too often. And that is because of what was said earlier, shiny object syndrome. That's the reason why business gets complicated. We subscribe to too many things. There's too many YouTube videos about how to do this better, that better. The company's offering up all kinds of platforms and things you can subscribe to. And then before you know it, you're like, I don't want to deal with any of this. Does anyone feel that way? You feel fatigue? Let's just simplify it. Because business is actually very simple. It's not easy to do. It's simple in theory. Business is so simple. It is identifying what you're really effing good at and figuring out who has a problem that you can solve with that. Connect those dots. That's all business is. Figure out what you're good at. If you want to do it in reverse, identify problems in the marketplace. Here's a sector in the market where there's a real problem. I either have a skill that can fix that or I'm going to develop the skill, connect those dots. That's business. That's all it is. The good thing is everybody in here is working in a space selling the one commodity that everybody needs to buy something that'll never go out of style, and that's housing, shelter. The need for shelter will never go away. So long as human beings exist, whether it's subsidized through the government, through rent, or a mortgage payment, or paid for in outright cash, shelter will always have a need. There'll always be demand, right? We're not going out of business anytime soon, but we have to just keep it simple. Now here's one of the major alarm bells I want to sound, and this is something everybody needs to just lock in with me and pay attention. Close attention to this. Because you need to be talking to your agent partners about this. You yourselves need to be aware of it. It's already happened. What I'm about to share with you has already taken place. It's not like this is coming. It already happened last year. Okay? Does anyone know what that is? The Wall. That's right. Game of Thrones. Best show ever. Until the last season when they messed it all up. Thank you. It still pisses me off. It chaps my ass more than anything. I hate that they screwed that up so bad. Hate it. Such an amazing show. Now, how many people in here have not seen Game of Thrones? Get out. Just, the doors, there's 4 sets of doors out there. Pick one, just get out. 5. Okay. So, this is going to sound nuts. But you need, for the people that don't know and haven't seen it, so you just need to level with me, and everyone who has seen it, they'll be nodding their heads, and it does sound crazy. Okay? This is the wall in Game of Thrones. On one side of the wall were the living, like us. On the other side of the wall were the dead that were actually coming for the living. They were going to wipe out everyone's existence, change the world, cremate society, and take over. One guy, one hero went over, saw this, came back, and yelled to everybody, wake up, we got to do something now. And then we all know how the story went, right? They won. They were able to defeat him. So, with mortgage, this is what's on the other side of the wall. And real estate. Does anyone know who this guy is? Not AI. Somebody said it? Varun? Rocket. That's right. You know what? I've got a funny story with this. I have been talking about this since the news came out, which I think was last March. So it's almost been a year. Nobody on any stage I've ever sat on or been on in the country, in any event or private mastermind, has called it. You're the first guy to do it. Smart man here. Very smart guy. Give him a raise, promote him, do something. And it's okay if you're part of everyone else, that's normal. Nobody knows who this guy is. This is Varun Krishna. This is the CEO of Rocket Company. Does everyone know what they did last year? You guys remember? You remember these headlines? They bought Redfin and they bought Mr. Cooper. What is he doing with this? If you don't understand what's happened, here's the wake-up call. I'm going to translate it for you, and I need you to, because agents are generally very slow to adopt, because agents think they're untouchable. Agents think, I'm always going to have a need, right? As long as I'm driving this Lambo, someone's always going to need me. I'm good. You need to wake them up. And if you wake them up to this, in terms of the threat, so that they're aware, they're going to look at you very differently. They're going to look at you as much more valuable than a numbers person, because you're proactively seeking the threats in the marketplace. To all of us, because this affects everyone. Watch the interview that this guy did with CNBC. If you just Google, or like on YouTube, Varun Krishna CNBC interview, listen to this guy. He's extremely bright, and he's a brilliant man. And he's doing what anybody in his space would do, which is find ways to dominate and disrupt. He knows that 7 million eyeballs a day, that's actually 14 million because everyone's got 2, right? 7 million people a day go to websites like Zillow and Redfin. Why? Because they're obsessed with real estate. He wants to capture that attention and capitalize on it and turn it into something. This is what he's basically saying. He considers a real estate transaction as a gigantic whale. He says, I want to create a tip-to-tail experience. I want someone who's on the site perusing, looking at real estate because people are obsessed with it, right? Real estate porn, however you want to refer to it. They just are constantly going through real estate rabbit holes. I want them to be like, oh, here's an interesting property. This is cool. Well, what would the numbers look like if I just wanted to toy with this? Could I really afford it? I mean, I like to dream. Really? Okay. That seems kind of reasonable. If I click on a couple more buttons, you're saying I could actually be pre-approved? I don't have to talk to them? Great. Let me just do that because I heard that's a hard step and now I feel some sense of accomplishment. I give you authorization on a couple of other things and sign off and you're going to fully underwrite me? Amazing. I don't have to deal with somebody from PRMG and give them my ancestors' landing papers at Plymouth Rock as a condition to qualify for this mortgage. I'm in that boat, trust me guys, I know. Okay, I'd like to kind of see that house, but I don't want to talk to an agent because I heard about that NAR lawsuit. I hate agents, I don't want to deal with them. They're just going to, don't worry, we have an internal agent that can set up the showing for you. You want to write an offer on this place? Don't worry about the NAR lawsuit, one of our agents will write it for you. We have our own in-house title and escrow company. Oh, we're actually going to do your mortgage too and it's already done. We're going to service it and that's it, you closed. And we'll keep in touch with you throughout the lifetime that you have this property. And any chance there's an opportunity to recalibrate or restructure your debt, we'll just reach out to you. Just check your inbox. We're always here for you. You tell me what client isn't going to sign up for that. I'll sign up for it. It's great. Now, we talked about, going back to the Uber example, what could taxis have done? So I'm asking everybody here, because if the writing's on the wall, and guys, I've lost transactions to this model already last year. There were countless clients, friends of mine, people that came to my wedding that I reached out to saying, hey, I've got that duplex, I've got the refi all set up for you. We'll just lock this on Monday, I'm going to send you the disclosures. Shit, man, I wish you had gotten back to me last week. My servicer already sent me loan docs. It was kind of weird. I'm thinking, okay, it's already happened. It's already happened. And I've lost countless deals like this. I promise you there's people in your pipeline that are falling into this also, okay? Everybody needs to wake up. Is this making sense, guys? What they've bought is, Varun Krishna has bought search and data. Mr. Cooper services 1 out of every 6 mortgages in the country. Rocket was already trying to get into the service model, which means now it's going to be more than that. That is a lot of data that they have. That is a lot of access that they have. That's a lot of eyeballs that they have, all right? So we all need to wake up to this actual threat because it's happening and do something. But what is the thing, going back to the question I had for you, what could we do? What is this never going to replace? Human element, your connections, your network. If you're a fix and flip specialist as an agent, everyone that you've got on a short list to be able to call to get that fix and flip done, Rocket's not going to be able to do that for you. The level of compassion, the level of empathy, understanding people, the human side of it needs to make a big comeback, massive comeback. If you can integrate and connect all the technology and all the resources that are out there and not let it replace the human side, but actually combine it, you're going to have something pretty special. That right there, guys, is going back to the taxi cab industry, lack of GPS, knowing the markets like the back of our hand. That's the one strength, the one hand they could have played. This is what everybody else needs to be playing right now. Talk about things that are going on in the market. Present a human element of it. Show compassion, show empathy, right? I was really, really like moved and like very highly impressed by what you guys have there and what you do for your people. Like, this is a great company. This company gives a shit. So you guys carry that out into the marketplace, because that's what's actually going to propel you forward. I'm going to share this with you because this happened just in December. Those of you that think you sometimes make content and you're like, no one's going to notice, people are watching. So I've been giving this keynote and talking about this guy, Varun. Over Christmas, on the 20th, he sends me a DM on LinkedIn. My wife sent me her Insta post. I love the wall analogy, thought we should connect. Okay, this is the CEO of one of the most powerful banks in the world. You guys think people aren't paying attention? If you're talking about stuff, if you're visible, someone's going to notice. Someone's going to pay attention. I wanted to leave that with you guys. Okay, disruption. I call it counter punches or counter attacks because I'm a martial artist. So I don't think, everyone remembers the Mike Tyson, right? Mike Tyson line that everyone has a plan until they get punched in the face. Okay, we all have a plan until the market serves us higher rates. We all have a plan until something disruptive happens. So disruption again, it's always going to happen, but I've got this counter punch or counter framework of getting out of the way and then countering back. I consider this foolproof, and it's for any industry. And you can write it down or screenshot it and keep this. These are the 3 punches that'll counteract any level of disruption, any market, any industry. Number 1 is visibility. We've talked about that ad nauseum today. I think everyone's on the same page with me, right? We have to be visible. If you are the most visible commodity in your market, you can outlast disruption. That's one of the counter punches. The second one is community. You have to be connected to or involved with community. This is a great community. You guys coming together for sales rallies. If you've got local or regional things or Zooms or things that everyone kind of gets together and shares ideas. If you're a part of masterminds, online communities. I have an online community. Like, this is where everything is. You have to be in the trenches with people that are going through the same fights, the same struggles, because that's where the collaboration is. That's where the ideas are going to come from. Don't stay alone on your island. We might be geographically spread out, but the connection and the opportunity for community, guys, is out there. Everybody can take it. And then the last one, which I can't get into today, but I will send it to you. If you send me a DM with the word evolve and give me your email address, we'll send you this guide. I have this framework of how anybody, as a mortgage professional or real estate professional, can evolve. I'll say this about it because I can't spend much time. I think everyone should scrap the term or the expression loan officer. I don't think that title should exist in our market. I don't think real estate agents should refer to themselves as real estate agents because I think all those titles carry no respect. They don't respect us anymore for them. Those titles are synonymous with loan servant or real estate servant. Someone that you call and ask for docs, you bully them around, you yell at them when things aren't going right, you don't show appreciation for. What is respected is a mortgage advisor or a real estate advisor. I think everyone in here should evolve into an advisor and refer to themselves as such. Some of you are looking at me like I just got my business cards and they say, loan officer, throw them away, order new ones. Refer to yourself as a mortgage advisor because what does an advisor garner in this industry or space? When your advisor calls you, your wealth advisor, what do? You listen. Wouldn't that be nice? Instead of saying how the conversation almost, well, my dad was telling me that his mortgage broker, who still has a fax machine in his office, said that this rate that you presented, like just, no, shut up, listen to me. I'm good at what I do. I'm here to give you advice. When my wealth advisor, Leonard, calls me, because we went to elementary school together, I'll say hi to him, I ask him how the kids are doing. I'm like, Leonard, I'm listening. What do you got? You're the expert. You're the advisor. That would be nice, and I think if everyone can change that from a respect standpoint, it'll make our jobs not only easier, but we'll be able to have much more impact. So if you send me that DM, guys, I'll send you the guide on it and what you can do to actually evolve. It's a simple framework. I just want to help with it. Okay, the reason why the opportunity I feel is as big as anything. Some people might say, well, from what you've been talking about, Arjun, you've been doing this social media stuff or putting yourself out there and making yourself visible for 7 or 8 years. I might be just getting started. I think the opportunity is as big, if not bigger today than it was when I got started. Okay, and there's 2 reasons why. The first reason is this. Everyone can see this, right? The small circle is SOI, that sphere of influence. We all remember that expression. It's all about who you know. All about who you know. That's maybe how you're raised. Like my dad always told, your network is your network is your net worth. Like the people you're around. And that's true. If you have a sphere of influence, you write down those names and you squeeze them and you ask about their friends and family, and that's where you start to kind of create some connection in the marketplace. Now, we talked about this in 2025. We're talking about it even more in 2026. We're doubling down. It is no longer about who you know. It's about who knows you. I want you to flip that expression. Who knows you? That's the market. That's the big circle. This big circle isn't even to scale. That big circle is actually infinite. I can't put it on the screen for you. I just needed to do something that could at least dramatize the difference between the two. The market, if you are visible in the market and you carry some credibility and you're building in there to where people are seeing you as an authority or someone that knows what they're talking about, the market becomes your fishing pond. That's where you have influence, not the sphere of influence. So everyone change it now. It's no longer about who you know, it's about who knows you. You guys with me on this? Okay. Here's the second reason why the opportunity is as big, if not bigger. Everyone knows TikTok, right? You remember during the pandemic when everyone was watching TikTok videos and you'd see kids doing ridiculous dances and they'd get millions, not thousands or hundreds, millions of views. It would just reach. TikTok did something different than all the other social media platforms. And some of you might feel intimidated by social media. I'm just going to keep it simple. They're all various platforms that have different algorithms. During the pandemic, okay, TikTok really switched and went into what is called, created what is called the interest graph. All the other platforms had what is called the social graph, which meant your reach on social media was determined proportionately by the following that you had. That's why people said, I only have 50 followers and 30 of them are family members. And 20 don't even really like me. They're like friends. One of them's my ex who stalks me. Like, no one's going to watch my stuff. So you would give up, right? And that's why people would say, I got to build an audience first, which is really hard, and then I can have reach. So TikTok flipped it and said, no, if you put out something that's of value to people, we think they're going to like, we're going to show it to the whole world. That's called the interest graph. Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn is all everyone's on the interest graph right now. And that's why the opportunity is big. What did I tell you? How many people go to Zillow every day? They're already interested in what it is that we do for a living. Yes, mortgage is not the sexiest thing. Nobody wants the mortgage, they want the damn house. But the things that we teach and preach about how to improve credit, financial literacy, how to be smarter with your money, that it doesn't actually take these huge down payments to get in and create wealth and hack your way to generational shifts in terms of how your family is and where they're going to end up on the wealth map. That's of interest to people. If you just talk about this stuff, if you talk to agents about this and encourage them, the whole world is already interested in what it is we do for a living. We just have to speak about it right. That's why the opportunity is as big now as it was before. So anyone that maybe feels, well, it's saturated, it's not saturated because, as my brother says, nothing is saturated because most people suck at what they do. That's the truth. That's the truth. All right? It's not saturated also because everyone's already interested in this stuff that we do for a living. You guys with me on this? Is that hopeful to anyone that was maybe feeling like they're a little late? I promise you, you could get started today. This is why an unknown commodity in a marketplace on LinkedIn could put out some thought leadership, a video, or even write something. If you hate video, you could write something on LinkedIn, and it will get hundreds of thousands of views and impressions, and you had no following at all because it's of interest to people, and they're going to start following it. So I hope that's helpful to you. Remember, guys, you are creating content. And again, you can create content however you want. It could be through a billboard, it could be through a bus stop sign, it could be through email, it could be through social, whatever it is. But you are creating content for people who have no clue who it is you are. The person that's going to do business with you 8, 10, 12 months from now has no clue that you even exist. That to me is the most exciting part. Yes, you have your referral sources. They're always going to be there. What we do online will cement those and help protect them from the rockets of the world that are going to try and get into their inboxes. But we are creating content and putting ourselves out there because some unknown commodity that has no idea you exist is going to find a video or a series of videos that you've been talking about how owning real estate in the South Florida market can change a family's financial trajectory permanently. And they're going to connect with that message and they're going to want to do business with you. And that's really, really powerful. Okay, I'm going to give you guys my playbook on content. What I do. This is what I did in 2024. I doubled down on it in 2025. This year, I'm not deviating from it at all. I'm an open book, I told you, and if there's time for Q&A, anyone can ask me anything, I will share it with you, because I want everybody to win. Is that cool with you guys? So here's my playbook. Quickly, I want everyone to just make a note that you are going to do a social audit of yourself. Now, this might be a deep dive, it may not be very much. I want you to go online as a stranger and audit you. If I look for you, what am I going to find? What would it say? Is it clear online what it is I do, the people that I help, how impactful I am, how good it is I am at what I do for a living, or is it not? Because that's where you're going to know what you need to fix. We have to be business operators and look under the hood and see what's wrong. Instead of just hoping or praying or trying something new, let's look at the data. Everybody do a social audit on yourself and ask yourself those questions. Is it clear what I do? Is it clear who I help? And would I want to work with this person? If any of the answers are unfavorable, you know what you need to fix. Got it, guys? Really simple, but so overlooked all the time. Remember this, too. It is not about you. This was the biggest mistake I made when I created content. For the first 2 years, I got no business out of it. Zero. Zero leads, not one referral. okay? And I was spending a lot of money because it was all high production stuff. It was different than it is now. You'd have to hire a whole videography crew. It would cost like $6,000 to $7,000 a shoot. I was doing it once a month. It was really expensive. I was pouring everything into it because I believed in it, and I knew that if I do it, it'd eventually gain traction. 2 years went by. I paid the dummy tax. I want to help you guys avoid it, okay? The mistake I made was that I was only talking about stuff that made me feel smart, or that I felt people wanted to hear, or that I thought was important. It was in my comfort zone, but it wasn't connecting with them. So yes, it was increasing visibility, but it wasn't connecting and actually solving a problem, or it wasn't what they actually wanted. I've got this funny expression, I use it all the time. If people come to your restaurant wanting hamburgers, don't serve them burritos just because you make a good burrito. Give them the damn hamburgers. They already have their hand in the air wanting hamburgers. That's what was happening to me. I was serving them burritos because I made a good burrito. So it wasn't connecting. People would walk, I'd see them at networking meetings or events, and they'd say, I see your stuff everywhere. Every time I open up a device, you're popping up. I'm like, good. Why don't you give me any effing business? Like, why isn't it working? It was because it wasn't answering that. It was not about them. I was making it all about me. So remember, guys, it's not about you. Make it all about them. Here's a resource everybody can use. There's a website. I use this for coming up with ideas all the time. Answerthepublic.com. Answerthepublic.com. I use this for most all of my ideas. What this is if you put in something, you can enter in a title. I don't know if it's changed a little bit. There might be a paid model. There used to be like, you could get 10 free searches. Suppose you put in South Florida real estate. What it's going to do is tell you everything that is being searched on the internet right now that ties to or is related to South Beach real estate or South Miami real estate, South Florida real estate, whatever the code was that you put in, and the degree of intensity at which it's being searched. There's your hamburgers, right there. That's literally the answer coming back to you of saying, this is what I want to know. It might be interest rates, it might be affordability. Those are the hands in the air. They're telling you what it is they want to hear about, so just give it to them. You don't have to think of new ideas. We just have to answer the problems that are out there. Does that make sense? So make it all about them. That website has helped me out immensely over the last few years. Please utilize it. It's a huge, huge tool. If you need email content marketing, you want to come up with other ideas. We don't have to come up with that genius idea. All of it's out there, okay? And be very, very clear on who it is you're talking to. Very important. Okay, here's the playbook, guys. These 3 styles of content are what I do the most. If you follow me, you'll see a pattern with it. It's community marketing, storytelling, and news hacking. Community marketing, and here, guys, here's a cheat code for everybody. For most everyone in your best referral sources are agents. Agents know nothing about this. If you can understand what I'm saying, literally steal it. Create your own slide on this. And when you sit down with an agent, say, here's a content strategy that I think would help you. You will be more valuable to that agent in 30 minutes that you sit down over a coffee or over Zoom than any lender they've ever worked with. And don't be afraid to use a bold statement like that. Because every agent I sit down with, I tell them the same thing. You may not work with me. I don't know if we'll work together. I don't even know if we're going to be the right fit. I take it away from them right away. I don't even know if we're the right fit, but I will promise you that over the next 20 minutes, what I'm going to share with you is more powerful than any other lenders talk to you about. You can keep working with them, it's fine, but let's go. I have their attention at that point, okay? And most of the time, it'll take us to a positive place. Take this and use it. I promise you it'll work. Community marketing is basically being the digital mayor of your market. It's being an evangelist for what it is you do. We need to do this as lenders. Agents really need to do this because if they claim that a certain area, like this area, this is called what? Doral? Doral. This is Doral. If some agent claims that they're the Doral expert, but they're not talking about Doral all the time, the cafes, the golf courses, the walks that they go on, the parks that they go to. If you're not being like the digital mayor of that place, why would you expect anyone else to want to like be excited about this market? The 2 biggest deals that I've ever gotten from social media have come from community marketing. Talking about a business, tagging that business in it. They ended up reaching out to me. They started following my content. What do you know? They needed a mortgage because they wanted to buy a bigger house. I took that and referred it out to an agent partner. I took a $4 million lead and gave it to an agent. The agent didn't call me back for 2 days because she thought it was a prank. Of course, what lender gives an agent a $4 million referral, right, for like a 2,000 square foot house just outside San Francisco? It's nuts. It's stupid. I'm not defending it at all. It's an obscene market that way. But finally, she called back. She's like, I thought you were joking. I'm like, yeah, because I'm different, all right? How do you think that lender looks at, or that agent looks at me compared to the other lenders that are just calling asking if we can go to coffee and talk about great service? You have to be different. You want different? Be different, okay? Then you can expect different. Storytelling, very, very important. Instead of, this is what you can advise agents on. What do agents always take the easy way out on when it comes to marketing? Just listed, just sold, right, Kasha? It drives you and I nuts. We talk about it all the time. Instead of, guys, am I tight on time? I'm sorry. Yeah, I'm over. All right, I told you I could have gone. I'm gonna wrap this. Can you give me just a couple of minutes and I'll land the plane? Okay, I'm sorry, guys. I get carried away. When there's no timer, I mean, it's all bets are off. No, it's okay. You gotta have it, otherwise these things get out of hand. Okay, instead of telling an agent, or remind the agent, instead of saying, I just sold this house, tell me instead about how you helped that single mom stay in this house while she was going through a really nasty divorce, and that she didn't have to take her kids out of that school zone and make what would have been a terrible situation even harder. You see what that did? It's a story because people identify with stories because as characters, they know someone who's going through a divorce. That will carry far more weight and reach than saying, I just sold, because it's not that special to sell a house anymore. Make sense, guys? You can advise your agent partners on this. And then news hacking. I already talked to you about news hacking. Take the articles out there, all the negativity about housing, and just translate it. Here's what this means. Here's why you should care. Okay? I'll give you guys playbooks and everything. If you want to just DM me, I'll even send you guys an expression on brand. I'm just going to close with this. Okay? Everybody in this market right now, when I was asking you guys if you think you're good at what you do you believe this market's going to crash, you would better be all in on this market. And I mean this. I'm as serious as a heart attack. Everybody better be all in on this market because our consumers need us to be. We'd better be at 100% because the consumer is sitting at about 50 or 60%. They're shaky because of all that negativity. You want proof? I'll flip it for you. The COVID market was the opposite. The consumer was at 100% all in because they said, we need more space. I hate you. We're getting a divorce. We need a home office. We need a home gym. We're moving to the burbs. That's why the transactions were, they were at 100%, which is why you saw agents and lenders who were maybe at 60, 70% in terms of even knowledge, make a ton of money. They were just herding cats and facilitating transactions. No one was good at their job. It was just a free-for-all. Now it's flipped. We have to be at 100. So if you aren't all in and at 100, you're doing a huge disservice, and these clients will smell it the way a shark smells blood in the water. They'll go right through you. Be all in on this market. We all want to be champions and good stewards of it, and that's what's going to count, and that's how we're going to actually help people. Kasha told you that I was coach for Team USA. This is, I think it was one of the greatest privileges and honors of my life to be able to do this for 10 years and see athletes compete at high levels. But I've always learned something from being around them. And I went on as an assistant coach this last summer to Barcelona, where Team USA was going, because I wanted to help out the other coaches and the guy that I'd passed the torch off to. And I would talk to people that would come off the podium, that would get medals. Because I always want to know what goes on in their brain, what's going on in their lives, right? How does a high performer achieve? How does a high performer stay on top? A lot of people think that these guys don't have anything going on in their life. I lost, well, that guy's not going through anything. I'm going through a lot of shit. I promise you, everyone's going through stuff. Taking care of a sick parent, financial ruin, coming from a war-torn country in Eastern Europe, they're going through shit. They were just more mentally tough. And mentally tough, I mean by the definition of you be your best regardless of circumstance. Be your best regardless of circumstance. Everyone's got circumstances, everyone has shit, you still be your best. The market's counting on it. And the other thing that they all had, guys, was unshakable belief in themselves. I competed in 3 world championships. I won the first one and the last one. Even the middle one, when I lost in the first round abruptly and had the rug pulled out from underneath me, I believed that I was the best in the world that morning when I got up. You have to have belief that you are the best at what you do, because if you don't, then what are you doing? Right? You're at an amazing company. There's incredible culture. There's incredible leadership, resources, everything's there. Believe that you are the best at what you do. Speak about it until you lose your voice. Be the most visible and known commodity in your marketplace. I promise you, everybody will win. All right? And let's effing go, guys. That's it. Thank you, guys. God bless you.
Phenomenal job.
Great job, man.